up, nerds?
This is Dee.
And this is Shelby.
And welcome to
Bumpin Gums.
All right, so
that was smooth.
like we talked about last week when we released the episode, Bumpin Gums is a big, long info dump. Actually, not long, but it's like a 20-minute info dump of just whatever information that we were interested in.
Yeah.
For this particular month of January, we are doing observances and like holidays and shit.
Yeah.
And things that took place in the month of January.
So
this is what we are talking about today.
This is what we are talking about today.
So I'm going to go first since Shelbs went last time first. So went first last time.
Ooh, can we do something real quick?
Sure.
Can we do corrections corner?
Let's do a corrections corner.
Okay, because it's not really a corrections corner. I just want to clarify something that I said on the very first episode, because we had quite a few people who were very up in arms about what they thought was miscommunication. So I said there may be some evidence leading to Estevanico coming into Florida before Christopher Columbus. And I specifically said maybe because there was possibly maybe an infinitesimal chance that maybe the
13-year-old is
that he came to Florida.
Maybe, potentially.
Maybe, possibly, maybe. Infinitesimal chance. So we never know. But I just want to correct that. I just want to correct that and just let people know that it was not a solid statement. My shit talking after was, yes. But that was not a solid statement. But thank you so much for the corrections and for informing us, because we want it. Inform us. Because if we're saying some wrong shit on here, we don't want to say some wrong shit. So anywho, then.
Let us know.
Back to D.
All right. Let me make sure this stays plugged in, because we will have a problem if it doesn't. It almost came out. Ooh. All right. It almost did, yeah. All right, so my first thing is fairly quick and fairly short, and it's something that is near and dear to my growing beef, birds. Okay? So January 5th was National Bird Day. Fuck all the birds in the world. Fuck every single one of them. I hate them all. We will always have long-standing beef. Fuck them all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. They're great for the ecosystem. There's things that are happening. The reason why they have this day is just to shed light on the critically endangered birds.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're just bringing awareness to those critically endangered birds that are providing things to the ecosystem to help out. And I have those list of birds, at least 11 of them. I have 11 of them. So one of the birds that is... Oh, you know what? Let me also clarify. This is to promote awareness for birds that are also, they're captured or produced in captivity. So it's those birds specifically, but also the ones that are like super, super endangered. So
nice.
The 11 birds that are on the critically endangered list are the Siberian crane, the Indian bustard. These, I'm going to probably be pronouncing these incorrectly, so...
We're just doing our best.
We're just doing our best.
Yeah.
English is hard. It's my first language, but it's hard. It's my only language, honestly. Actually, I'm fluent in Spanish as well. She's bilingual. Anyway.
Bitch knows her shit.
I know my shit. White-backed vulture, a red-headed vulture, a forest owlet, spoon-billed sandpiper, white-bellied heron, Jerdan's courser, I'm gonna guess.
Peppers are so cute. Anyways, continue on.
Bengal florican. I am doing this without my glasses. The fact that I'm reading this is amazing. Himalayan quail, sociable lapwing, and a yellow-breasted bunting. Fuck all of y'all. Moving on. No, just
I promise you, every single one of those birds are gonna shit on her car.
They probably will. You know what's so crazy?
They will hunt her down and find her just to shit on her car.
It is like low-key all wildlife that I have beef with, but specifically birds and deer.
Yeah.
I hit a deer one time and that was it.
Yep.
So
them cousins is out.
The cousins is out after me. Mm-hmm. They've been after me since I hit the one deer. The whole family line hates me, and
the whole family line
goes across states. The Ohio deer then talk to the Florida deer.
Yep.
And they are not happy with my ass.
They can't stand her
at all. But
rightfully so. She done killed their cousin.
I mean, he
or auntie or sister or mama.
They galloped away.
Yes.
They were pissed, and they may have died in the bushes. But from what I saw, they were still alive and well.
Anywho's in.
All right. My second thing was On January 22nd of 1973 is when the Roe v. Wade ruling was set into place. If you guys are not familiar with the Roe v. Wade ruling, it is, I'll just read it. It's just the Supreme Court recognized that the right to liberty in the Constitution, which protects personal privacy, includes the right to decide whether to continue a pregnancy or not, which is pretty much saying you got the right to do an abortion if you want to do it within certain, parameters. I don't have all those written down, but within certain parameters, they were like, hey, you can do what you want because it's none of our business. We gonna get out your coochie. We gonna get out your business. We gonna let you do what you gotta do. And they was like, bet, we love that. And then less than 50 years later, they was like, hey, that ruling that we made, just kidding.
JK.
It's actually all of our business. We didn't know what's going on. And they was like, let's get this. They snatched that thing right on back.
Snatched it.
Less than 50 years. But January 22nd, 1973 is when it was put into place. The thing that made this whole thing very interesting, and I'm kind of confused as to, not confused, it's just funny that it was pretty much overturned, is because of why they set it to rule in the first place. Mm-hmm. The reason why the whole thing got set to rule in the first place and how it ended up being protected initially was because of the 14th Amendment. Mm-hmm. The 14th Amendment, if you don't know, I got it. There's actually, I think, like 5 sections in it. Pretty much says that if you're a citizen and all that, you no state shall enforce a law that pretty much infringes on your freedoms, in essence. So it's pretty much saying, like, if you have privileges or immunities, the government should not have any right to anything that has to do with your life, your liberty, your property, all of that. So marriage, childbearing, contraceptive, religion, all that, they're not supposed to be in your shit.
They're not supposed to be in that shit.
You can do how you need to do it. That's what the 14th Amendment talks about. There's also some other interesting things in the 14th Amendment, which...
The 14th Amendment is very interesting.
It's very interesting because I think it's the 5th article that talks about, it's the 5th or the 4th. One of the articles talks about you're not supposed to be in a place of like power in Congress, former president, electee, and pretty much stage a coup.
Yeah.
Or be a part in a coup.
Yeah.
That's like in the Constitution.
That's like in the Constitution. But the only thing that I think that people really care about in the Constitution is freedom of speech and guns.
Somewhat. Only somewhat.
Only somewhat freedom of speech. Like, you can't have drag queens out being drag queens.
You can't have freedom of speech if you are anything other than...
white male. White male privilege. We should put that in, like, big glittery letters. White male privilege.
Then we're going to have all the white males out of our heads. But, yeah, so that was
the thing. Let them bring us some clout, though.
Please watch it and all. It's not the 5th. It's the 4th that I was thinking of. Oh, no, it's not the 4th. It's the 3rd.
Okay.
Is it the 3rd? Yep, it's the 3rd. Insurrection or rebellion against the same or given. Yeah. Anyway, not what I was talking about.
People really should read the Constitution.
You know what's so funny? Oh, god damn it. Okay, so funny enough, I went on when all the stuff was kind of going on with the elections and just stuff in general, I went on this really weird not splurge, but just search of the Constitution and all of the amendments and I just was reading them just to see, and I was very confused because a lot of the stuff that's in there the stuff that's taking place shouldn't be allowed.
Yes,
based off the Constitution.
Yeah, no, 100%. But there are other laws and like bylaws and stuff like that people use to get around. It's written in such a way that they are able to get around it, which makes it super tricky and weird. They wrote it vague specifically for that. I feel like the way that they wrote the Constitution in general, not to like go off because I want to make sure like you still are able to say all the things that you need to say, but when they wrote the Constitution in the first place, it was so that it was lax and it was a little more vague because they did not want to have a monarchy or a dictatorship occurring because they wanted to try to be as little of England as possible. Right. Which is so funny because they made it lax, which made what we are today, which is basically almost a dictatorship. Which is almost, we're like right there.
So at the time before, just to go back to the Roe v. Wade thing, at the time when it was decided for it to be in effect, all the states, I believe, had banned abortion at the time. And they also noticed anytime you ban something, people are going to find a way to do it anyway. Yeah. They did it with prohibition. They did it with this. And people died. A lot of people died. Women, mostly because, yes. Actually, women, period. And, you know, having that information of what happens when it didn't exist to, you know, flash forward 49 years because it didn't make it to 50 years. Also, crazy enough, this is in most people's family's lifetime, like parents' lifetime.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But there's a lot of that. There's actually, I won't get into that now.
Yeah.
I'll get into that later. But yeah, you see what happened during that time, and there's a good chance that it will happen again. And we're already starting to see some of those effects of it not being in effect. So I guess we'll just see. We'll just see. All right. That was it? That was my information.
I love that.
Sorry.
That was good.
I know that was very long, and it went.
No, that was good.
Okay.
That was really good.
It was all over the place.
I loved it though. I was like, yes, by all means, talk about Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
So my stuff today, I have some stuff about the month of January, and I'm going to try to be consistent with like the monthly shit. But actually a very large section of what I have has nothing to do with the month of January. Okay. I just found it and thought it was fucking really dope.
Cool.
I think I sent it to you, but I got more information on it.
I don't know.
Well, when I start reading it, you might remember.
Okay.
So you guys know January 1st is actual National Hangover Day.
That makes sense.
It is we have a National Hangover Day. We drink too much, y'all. We shouldn't have a National Hangover Day in recognition of the fact that everybody got fucked up on the 31st.
Can we just talk about how we have a National Hangover Day to go with the national or the dry month?
Yeah.
And there's another month that has to do with prohibition started on the 17th
of this month.
Of this month,
and prohibition started on the 17th of this month. That's because everybody went booty hole wild and was out here,
balls to the
wall, fucking teabagging everybody. I'm sorry. I just thought of the Boston Tea Party, and then I thought of teabagging, and then it just kind of flowed from there. But anywho, then
I was actually on that same path when you said teabagging.
Really?
I was like
Boston Tea Party. Boston Tea Party. Anyways, another cool thing. Okay, so I love etymology. I love like words and the history of words and like how words were specifically created and where they stemmed from and so on and so forth. I love etymology. And National Thesaurus National Thesaurus Day is celebrated on January 18th in honor of Peter Mark Roget. I'm going to say Roget, the creator of Roget's Thesaurus. The day also celebrates the usefulness of thesauruses and the diversity of the English language. January 18th is the actual birthday of Peter Mark. I'm just going to call him Peter Mark, who was born in 1779.
I was like, 19? That's crazy.
No, he was born in 1779. On January 18th. He retired from medicine in 1840 to work on his thesaurus, which was published in 1852.
Nice.
How crazy is that?
That's wild.
That's crazy as fuck. First of all, the fact that he lived that long is crazy. The fact that he lived that long in the 1700s.
I mean, I know. How did he not have like, what was it? Like dysentery? Wasn't that popping back then?
Or that cholera, dysentery.
Smallpox, was that happening?
That was kind of smallpox was there. It was like, it was sprinkled in.
Yeah, it was some
lice. I mean, you're talking about like all sorts of shit. All sorts
malaria?
of shit. Malaria? Depending on where you was at.
Dysentery? No, just
God. All sorts of shit was going on. You had the witch hunts. No, I'm just playing. I don't really know.
Witch hunt?
I don't really know. Hey, please, if anybody knows the dates and the years of when these things started popping up, by all means, hop up in and let us know. We're just fucking around. We're not being serious. But for real, let us know. Anywho's there's also something in the month of January called Blue Monday. It's the name given to a day, and it's usually the third Monday in January, where it's supposed to be the most depressing day of the entire year.
Really?
Yes. Okay. I don't know how accurate this is for the internet. I don't know how accurate this is, but the concept was first published in 2005. A press release from the company named Sky Travel. They used a quote-unquote equation. Nobody really knows what the equation is, but it was a quote-unquote equation. And it takes into account weather conditions and thus also only applies to the Northern Hemisphere. So the third Monday in January is the most depressing day of the entire year.
But only for the Northern Hemisphere.
Only for the Northern Hemisphere.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
And it's called Blue Monday.
That is cool.
And then when I was researching it and looking it up, it pulled up, I love the movie Inside Out. And Sadness was on there. And she was just so cute with her little blue self. And I was like, she's adorable. But anyway, she pulled it for Blue Monday. Now, my main thing that I want to talk about. Las Pachucas.
Las Pachucas.
Have you heard of them?
No.
Okay, Las Pachucas was a Mexican American group of women who were the female zoot suits.
Okay, yes.
They were the female zoot suiters, which at some point I do want to talk about the zoot suit riots.
Please.
Because that is a crazy cool story.
Super crazy
but
time.
But also just crazy time in general.
Man.
But just the zoot suits in general, wild. Please bring them back. Can we just have zoot suits back? Because I'm sorry. Anybody in a suit just looks great. Like
but
that
zoot
woman,
suit specifically?
But zoot suit specifically, because it was all sorts of different colors.
And then they were just
beautiful.
like, the way that they were structured was so different.
It was just so different with like the it was
the
just
padding,
so
the length
cool.
of the jacket, the pants, the width of the pants.
With
like,
the shoes.
And
the hats. The
hats.
That's
where it was at.
Zoot suits was where it was at. Anyways, okay, so Las Pachucas is the female counterpart of the Pachuco, were Mexican-American women who wore zoot suits during World War II, also known as cholitas, slick chicks, and lady zoot suiters. The suit was a symbol of rebellion due to the rationing of cloth for the war effort. Wearing the longer and loose-fitting jackets and pants was therefore seen as being unpatriotic. These women were jailed for having they actually were in the zoot suit riots. But they were actually jailed for having brass knuckles, knives on them. These women painted their eyebrows in a very arch sort of way. They had big pompadours, like big hair, and they wore these sleek suits, and they was just out here killing it.
Literally.
Literally
killing it.
They was just the best. The zoot suit was the most salient identifying feature of Pachuquism, a Mexican-American youth subculture. This subculture emerged during a time of increased racism and the fight for Mexican-Americans' right and equality within America, or American society. Both men and women wore the fingertip coats, but for women, it became more than just a style. Pachuca gangs like the Black Widows and Slick Chicks, there's actual whole gangs. And these women, I'm going to send you like pictures so maybe we can put them up. These women were just gorgeous. Just a fucking fabulous out here, ready to just cut some throat. Like, I loved it. I was like, I want to be a Pachuca. I'm not Mexican American in any way, but I'm just obsessed with these women. So anyways, they wore black draped jackets, tight skirts, fishnet stockings, and heavy emphasized makeup were ridiculed in the press. This was not just the case for Pachuca women in gangs, but Pachuca women in general. Participation in the movement was a way to openly challenge conventional notions of feminine beauty and sexuality, especially in Mexican culture. Because during that time, Mexicans get so much shit all the time, even to this day, and they are the hardest working, sweetest people that I've met. Like, a lot of them are very people in general are just assholes in any race, and any fucking race, and we could get murdered. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can die by the hand of anybody, primarily women, but we can get die by anyone. But these women were just like, Mexicans in general, but like Mexican women were, just fucking tormented during that time. And so for them to like step up and be like, nah, y'all not fucking with us, it's crazy cool. So anyways, Las Pachucas or Cholitas were the, I already said that. They were involved in much of the violence surrounding the Zoot Suit riots, often in the documentation being seen throwing things and yelling at law enforcement. Love them. My favorite people. Las Pachucas were unique in relation to their Pachuco counterpart because of their newfound sexual and cultural identity within both their own Mexican-American communities and Americanist societies. Las Pachucas feminized the masculine style of dressing, because back then during that time, they were not, like, women were supposed to wear
dresses,
long
and things
dresses
like
that covered them up completely.
Pants was
not
for
a
women.
thing. It was not a thing at all.
Funny enough, I actually saw something recently, and I don't even remember what the year was, so I can't, if you guys know, please look it up. But there was a woman that was jailed because she decided to wear a swimsuit, fully covered, mind you, but it was too revealing, and she ended up being jailed for it. But she was still covered, but not enough.
But like not enough. Like we were supposed to cover all of our body parts.
Yeah.
So for some, during the time of World War II, the wearing of the Pachuca style was a statement to the communities for their identity. For others, it was a symbol of rebellion. So it was definitely like they was out here in these streets being like, don't fuck with us. Oh, God, their eyebrows were just so perched. I loved it. It was like up to the hairline. Anyways, anywho's in. The emergence of the coverage and documentation of La Pachucas, as well as the appearance of female Pachuco Pachucos coincided with a dramatic rise in the delinquency rates among girls aged between 12 to 20. After the Sleepy Lagoon case, which I'm going to actually talk about another time. It's actually a very cool case. But during the case, Pachuca women were involved, and like their Pachuca counterparts were not given due process. So they were just thrown into jail. They were not given a trial. They were not giving anything. They were just like, this is what's going to happen to you, which happens. Anyways, let me not. During the time of increased discrimination against Mexican Americans and Mexican culture, this inclusion of Pachuca women complicates their potential status as patriotic Americans. Pachuca women face both backlash from their own communities for their newly sexualized styles and contributions to the riots, but also the Anglo communities felt that Pachuca women were unfeminine and could never conform to or exude Anglo standards of feminine beauty due to their involvement in the movement. So they was like, basically Anglo means just white people. I'm just going to say Anglo means white people. And like white people were like, no, you guys can't be a part of this shit because y'all dress like that. And like a lot of like Mexican women and like their culture and like their beauty standards and stuff still are exuded to this day.
I was going to say that. So I'm glad that you,
and the face and all of that, the hair, the big hair, it is still very much a part of the culture to this day. And it's actually really cool to see. And the Pachucas are the one that kind of started that whole movement.
That's dope.
Isn't that cool?
That is really dope.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
That is super cool.
This is wild.
That is super, super cool.
Has nothing to do with the month of January though. So thank you for my TED Talk on the Pachucas.
I mean, it's still really, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Right.
That's dope. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Bumpin Gums.
Thanks for being here. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.